We are into game number 5, ladies and gentlemen. This is for all the marbles, all the money, whatever you think you're playing for. If this is it, Quantic is going to be picking first here. They are on the Radiant side. On the Dire side, we have AL. Game 5 of a best out of 5. It's been very back and forth. And the bans are coming pretty quickly. The teams have to be tired by now. They also have to feel like they understand each other. If you play enough games against each other, eventually you're going to figure out your opponents a little bit. So it's really going to come down to execution here.
Absolutely. We're not going to see the Morphling banned out by AL. They don't want to mess with that. But Brewmaster is still in the pool, as well as a couple other great heroes. We still have Leshrac, who's probably going to be the first pick, as he has been many, many times so far. But we'll have to see if Quantic tries to change it up a little bit and goes for something other than Leshrac, who both teams have been pretty much first picking every single time. We still have, who else is left in the pool? We do have, of course, a couple of support heroes. Yep, there it is. Leshrac, man, every single time. It wasn't so long ago that Leshrac just was never picked up, and now he is just consistently first pick, sometimes, occasionally even banned.
Again, I'm still shocked. I don't think I've ever seen a Leshrac ban in the first phase. Now, I'm sure there have been some. I just haven't cast or watched those games. Chen is the immediate reply from AL, one of their favorite signature heroes. Prophet is not around this time, so they're not going to get that devastating 1-2 punch. It is push versus push for now. And it's pretty, I mean, I'm not going to say either team has chipped their hands yet. One thing I will mention is Shadow Demon also not getting banned. He's available, and he's been in a lot of these games. It will be a Vengeful Spirit to follow the Chen. This suggests that AL wants to do some early smoke ganks because Vengeful Spirit sets up Chen so well. You throw the Magic Missile in, you follow up with a Centaur Stomp, a Dark Troll, Net, or the Ursa Warrior Clap, and suddenly you have a kill on your hands. So a great start for AL. It also gives them the potential for some Aura Strat shenanigans. Beastmaster is available, Drow Ranger is available, although we haven't seen a whole lot of her recently. But you couple that with the Chen creep auras, maybe some items that give auras, and that is a scary push, which seems to be how AL is winning most of their games, at least in this series.
Yeah, absolutely. Enchantress still in the pool as well, so if they want to, Quantic in their 2-3 can pick that up right now. Otherwise, probably going to see it banned out by AL. It's a very common strategy that if you are able to pick up that Chen, you do not want to see an Enchantress on the other team. Being able to steal your creeps, on top of that, Enchantress can scale into the late game a bit better. Chen dominates the mid game much better. He can grab more creeps and has that global heal, which is just so amazing at times. So we'll have to see if that is picked up for the 2-3 for Quantic. They're thinking about that. But what else do you think is left in the pool? They can always go for Shadow Demon, as you said, or the Sand King. One of those two heroes to lane with Leshrac. But if they want to, they can always leave that. They can leave that out and let AL ban some of those heroes that go well with Leshrac. There's still plenty others. I doubt we will see both Shadow Demon and Sand King banned out in the second phase.
Yeah, I'm not so sure about that. We might see one of them, but I doubt both. Either way, though, Quantic has 2 picks here, and I would love to see that Panda again, man. It worked wonders for them, and AL is going to want to go for some very aggressive early heroes. It's actually Enchantress Crystal Maiden. Oh man, this is the most early game. Coupled with push that I think we've seen from Quantic this series, a bit of a change of pace from them, something of a curveball, you might say. Of course, Panda is available. I wouldn't be surprised to see AL pick that up. Now, he's not the best at stopping pushes, but one thing you can do is, of course, clapping the creeps is nice to clear them. More importantly, if you ever drop that ult, the push is over. The enemy team is just going to back off. If you get some nice kills off of that, that's going to definitely turn the tides. So I would not be surprised to see either team pick up Panda. I think he fits it well to both lineups. But for now, I'm thinking AL might go for that Beastmaster. They've already sort of tipped a little. I wouldn't say they've tipped their hand, but they've suggested they want to go for the R strat. And they've certainly done it before. It's actually going to be Queen of Pain, giving them a little more mobility, some ganking power as well. And a great hero to have up against Enchantress, for not only for the AoE to clear the creeps, but also just for the raw burst damage. We've definitely seen Enchantresses in the past. If they have a decent start, she can deal a scary amount of damage. Do not underestimate Impetus. It's pretty scary with that pure damage coming at you. And Queen of Pain is a hero that can just burst her down before she has a chance to pop that heal. Very aggressive lineups on both sides coming out. So I expect to see a lot of early kills, or at the very least, a lot of early towers.
Yeah, indeed. I'm really glad they picked up that Queen of Pain because I really think Quantic was probably going to ban her out just because she is so strong. I mean, they've already got 3 squishy heroes. Queen of Pain is sort of a very favored hero right now, often seen in that second banning phase, banned out, and we do see the Brewmaster banned. Yeah, I love seeing a Brewmaster. As he's about, I love seeing him, and I love seeing Invoker. Those two heroes are just, I don't know, they're so much fun to watch. So much stuff can happen when you have an Invoker who's able, once you get those levels, throw down all those spells. Same goes with Brewmaster. Once you are able to micro those pandas well, and just constantly have someone in the Cyclone purge it when you're ready to kill him, that sort of thing. We're gonna see Podum and Beastmaster banned out by Quantic. So like you said, AL did already kind of, throw out the fact that they could go for that double aura strat, and they do still need that suicide lane because Vengeful Spirit will be a great support hero with whatever carry they pick up. They still need a suicide lane hero because Queen of Pain is going to be in that middle situation. So banning out those two solos that could go bottom, especially the Beastmaster there. And we're going to see Riki banned out as well. And I think that's a pretty big pickup. Both teams very, very squishy. And Riki would make for a great carry right now on top of the Crystal Maiden, followed up by the Enchantress and Leshrac pushes. If they could take some early towers, just the early 3 outer towers, that might give Riki enough gold to get that really fast diffusal. And once he gets that, he can just really snowball really, really quickly by being able to pick off heroes. And with that extra slow, ensuring an extra kill.
Oh, it's a Night Stalker. I
Wow.
love this choice. So good at shutting down, particularly Queen of Pain. I am looking at you. That silence is going to make Queen of Pain having an absolute nightmare. I think that was like the worst pun I've ever made. This Night Stalker, yeah, so nice. Also, you have to keep in mind, Night Stalker is not simply a ganker. Of course, I'm sure we've all played those pub games where Night Stalker goes like 8-0 in the first nighttime and is 10 levels above your team, and you lose the game in 25 minutes. That's how people are used to seeing Night Stalker played, and that's what they're used to expecting from him. Night Stalker can actually have a huge impact on the game, even if he only gets a couple of kills, because when it's nighttime, if he has a couple of items, say an urn, maybe power treads, a vitality booster by the time the mid game hits, you are not going to feel safe defending a tower because Night Stalker can just charge in, it will drive everyone back, and that is a great asset to have when you're coupling it with a Leshrac and an Enchantress. He's actually a decent pusher in his own right, simply because he zones the enemy team back, which creates space for your actual heroes your actual damage dealers, such as the Leshrac and the Enchantress, to work down the towers. Also, a very aggressive pick, and I think overall it fits in well. It gives you a nice nuke to work with, and you definitely want to be able to burst down AL, because if you don't, that Chen heal is coming. He'll be sending people back to base. Vengeful Spirit will be swapping them out, and it's going to be a huge turnaround. So burst damage is the name of the game for Quantic. I'm a little bit curious, who will they go for as the last pick? The Riki ban, you mentioned why it was smart for AL. I actually think it would have fit in pretty well in AL's lineup as well. Of course, they didn't have the first pick coming out of the stage, which was probably their primary concern. And they pick into a Viper. Interesting, very interesting choice. Another strong laning hero. If you look at AL right now, everyone on their team is dominant in the laning phase. Vengeful Spirit, not the best lane control, but that stun, very dangerous. So AL is looking for some early aggression, early kills, and Quantic is looking for the same. I expect to see heads clash and a lot of heroes dying quickly.
Yeah, absolutely. And they can do something here. Oh, no. Quantic is going to grab that signature Tiny, who's going to be, oh, man, this is going to be rough. We're going to get to see that Tiny Korok finally. We haven't seen it all series long, and finally we're going to be able to see it. And that's just a lot of teamfight going on. Some potential ganking coming in from the Night Stalker. But all around, just a lot of teamfight for both teams. I think AL is going to be searching for a bit more picks early on. Going into that mid game, but once Quantic really starts rolling, AL is going to have to play really passive. And the question is here, are they going to try and clash, or are they going to try and go for a harder carry here and just try and turtle up until the point? And no, they're going to go for the Sand King. So they're willing to fight this. They're going to man up.
Korok on that Tiny. This will be a sight to behold. This is one of Korok's signature heroes. I've mentioned them a few times in the cast, along with Morphling and Storm. He has had some absolutely outrageous games with Tiny. Of course, we've seen other players dominate. For example, I believe it was Dendi playing for Navi. This is going back maybe a month or more, but they won one team fight. They got 3 sets of racks thanks to that Aghanims on Tiny, as well as some other minus armored buildings, like an Assault Cuirass, I believe, and maybe some attack speed. Tiny is a pusher in his own right. You got to also keep in mind, toss is really fantastic for pushy as well. Does a lot of damage to the tower when you use the toss. But most importantly, just the sheer right-clicking power of Tiny. Don't get people traditionally have thought of Tiny as a ganker, and that's normally how we see him played. But he scales pretty damn well as far as gankers go into the late game, as well as Night Stalker does. I actually want to say Quantic has the better late game by a decent margin here, and that's not even counting the Leshrac. And normally when you look at Tiny and Night Stalker, you think gank, but it could be farm too. And either way, I think it's going to work out well for Quantic if they get the good start. For AO, the name of the game is winning the laning phase. They absolutely must not let either the Night Stalker or the Tiny or the Leshrac get going. It's a lot of heroes to lock down. The question is, will they be able to do it? If anyone can, it's probably Godot's Chen.
Yeah, really. I mean, Godot is a superior Chen. He is one of the best players I think I've seen on a Chen. Really great asset to the Absolute Legends team, but oh man, there's going to be so much action. But let's go over who's playing what, top to bottom, left to right. I'll cover Quantic. Painted Gold is going to be on that Night Stalker. Korak, of course, on the Tiny. Who else? Last Hit Magic on Enchantress. Mikey on Crystal Maiden, and Solera on that Leshrac. And for those of you who are wanting, yes, that is Complexity's Mikey. He is ringing for Quantic right now. He's just threw on the tag for funsies, I guess.
Looks like the pause should be ending soon, so while we have this break, let's introduce the players. Quantic is ready to go. For Quantic, we have Korak on that Tiny, of course, no surprises there. Painted Gold on the Night Stalker. We saw how good his Panda is last game. Will he be able to repeat that performance on the Night Stalker this time around? A little bit more of a ganking hero, less of a team fighter, still a very dangerous mid-game hero, and that seems to be what he favors. Mikey on that support Crystal Maiden. Ward's already picked up, and Last Hit Magic starting with a Smoke and the Sage's Mask. Interesting. And Solera is going to be on that Leshrac. I'm guessing it will be something of a... Looks like it will be a farming Leshrac.
I thought you were going to cover AL. All right, I'll cover AL. Godot is going to be on that Chen. Musica on Queen of Pain. Bleak on Viper. Shaitan on Vengeful Spirit. And Snoopy, of course, on that Sand King, a hero that he is incredibly strong with.
Did I miss something? Sorry about that. Yeah, I just happened to have my camera over the radio one, so I started introducing.
No worries, man. No worries. Oh, man. Pauses. All right, guys. Well, I saw we got... Oh, man. We're up to 2,300 viewers right now, so let's go ahead. Real quick, my name is The Capitalist from DotaLive.net, and joining me today is LD from Dota Commentators. And so if you guys are wondering who we are, please, if you can, absolutely check us out. Twitch TV /Dota Live is going to be our Twitch TV channel. We also have, we are on Facebook, we're on Twitter, we also have a YouTube channel where these videos will go up. So if you missed earlier games, we're going to have that on our YouTube channel. Absolutely. And LD, what are your various outlets?
Again, I'm LD from DotaCommentaries.com, and you can find me on twitch.tv/LDDota. The same for YouTube, youtube.com/LDDota, and the same for Facebook and Twitter as well, just /LDDota. Or you can just go to LDDota.com and find some basic links to all of my stuff, as well as my stream if you want to watch it there. So definitely check me out. I hope you guys are enjoying the cast. If you have any constructive feedback, I would love to hear it after the cast ends. You can message me on Twitch. I'm sure the Capitalist would be happy to get feedback from you guys as well, and I assume you can message the Dota Live accounts, maybe post something on their website. Because as newer casters, we're always trying to improve, and hopefully you guys have been enjoying the series so far. A quick recap, I suppose, is in order. I missed Game 1, but it did go the way of Quantic in what I heard was pretty convincing fashion. And from there, it's been very back and forth. Here we are in Game number 2. The last game was the longest of the series, and even then it was only about 38 minutes, that going the way of Quantic. So they were in danger of being knocked off here, but they came back. They picked a very aggressive lineup that really requires a lot of confidence to pull off. So many gankers, so many burst damage heroes, and really no hard farmer. So they have a lot of faith in Korak on that Tiny, a lot of faith in Painted Gold on that Night Stalker, that they can have the good start they need to take this game.
Hey, real quick, I accidentally said IX Mike was... he only played Game 1. Sorry about that. I completely forgot. It's just both Mikes, both on support heroes. I completely forgot. In the first game, Mike threw on the Quantic tag. But sorry, this is actually Mikey from Quantic, so sorry about that. Completely forgot. And we are going to see an Invis picked up on Solera right off the bat. And it looks like we're going to see Bleak right now Soloing top versus Solera, we're going to see Shaitan and Godot probably be roaming between top and bottom as much, or excuse me, top and middle as much as possible. Probably get a nice little smoke gank eventually. He already does have that. So if they can get a gank on Painted Gold, especially before that first nighttime, it'll be extremely helpful. And unlike Solera, already sitting on this, he's going to block the creep spawn, the 30-second one. I doubt he'll block that 1 minute one. He's just going to go into lane now. And he got that one block off, which is going to be enough. And it looks like Shaitan's actually going to be helping Godot do the jungle. He's not going to try and get his own wards or catapults or anything like that. He's actually going to be helping Chen, so they're probably going to see a really fast gank. Unfortunately, they didn't get a troll, which is probably the best ganking creep right off the bat. So that would have been nice if they could have gotten a really early gank with that smoke, but I don't think they really got the creep for it.
Yeah, very interesting decision here to send Solera up to the suicide lane on that Leshrac. The invis helped to start. There is no pulling at the moment, but Leshrac is so easily ganked. One of the squishiest heroes in the game. This is why you normally see him in a dual or tri-lane situation. Even 1v1 against Bleak on that Viper, that is a very difficult lane for Leshrac to win, because the stun is hard to hit. Viper can easily kite him with the slow, and Viper does a lot of damage. Once you start getting low, which Leshrac will quickly, because of how squishy he is, that Nether Toxin is just going to be devastatingly effective. In the middle lane, I would give Musica an edge, at least in the early stages of this lane, because of that Shadow Strike, so strong for harassment purposes. But Painted Gold is playing Night Stalker, an obnoxiously tanky hero, one of the tankiest in the game at this stage. 6 armor with really nothing, as well as that to give him armor, as well as that stout shield. Of course, the strength gain, the starting strength, quite good for him. So Painted Gold will get levels. He may not get too much farm, but I really think a lot of how this early game goes is contingent on Godot getting some good initiating ganks. And so far, he's getting very unlucky with creeps. He is going to find a tornado creep. They can maybe use this to push top, but there's no Ring of Basilius rush on Viper. He's not going for a quick Ring of Aquila. So it's going to be a little bit harder to push than it would be with, say, a Morphling who almost always rushes that item. We'll have to see how it progresses, but for now, it seems pretty stable for Quantic. They're doing reasonably well, considering how difficult that top lane is.
Yeah, we saw their Sand King Snoopy was able to pick up a double damage, so that was rather helpful, but unfortunately he took a lot of harassment. Right now, Mikey is doing a lot of pulling while Enchantress is taking over the jungle, as she always does, trying to get up some experience and gold, and eventually we're going to see them push in this bottom lane, and there's not a whole lot that Snoopy's going to be able to do about it. Rather unfortunate, but maybe we'll see Absolute Legends, especially if Queen of Pain can get level 6, level 7 in that area, and maybe gank bottom once they start pushing in. That'll be incredibly helpful, especially if they can get a fellow teleport. It just really sucks when you have a hero like Chen. Chen being a hero who can't really teleport very often. He's really dependent on his creep, so that means his map movement is extremely important. He has to be able to sense out where the best possible place it is on the map for him to be. Whether it is counter ganking, whether it's ganking himself, either one, or getting in potential pushes. He really has to sense those out at least a good minute beforehand. Otherwise, he can't just teleport in and get a counter gank like most other heroes. So we are going to see a smoke gank coming in. Enchantress and Mikey, Last Hit Magic and Mikey are going to be going through at bottom. Snoopy, though, is playing very passive. He knows this is about the same time, and we're going to see as well another smoke gank, and they're going to jump in on Mikey. They're going to be able to pick up that kill. Nice job. First blood. Absolute Legends. Very good strategy. Smoking up themselves, and instead of trying to get a gank, getting in that counter gank at bottom, like I said, just the timing, knowing that, sensing that out a good 30 seconds beforehand, and heading bottom with that smoke. Very good play by Absolute Legends.
Yeah, very good play and a little bit unlucky for Quantic, but these initial ganks are so important. One thing I want to mention that we haven't talked about too much is Korok is getting free farm, and that, if there's any player you don't want to give free farm, it is definitely him, especially on a hero like Tiny, who snowballs so hard. It looks like it will be a dual lane bottom now. With that first blood, they're going to let this Chen farm up a little bit. Oh, on the middle lane, Painted Gold so low, and he does go down to Musica. Yeah, good catch by you, and my bad for missing that. But hey, I'm not the camera guy, so it's okay. Yeah, but still, my point is, giving Korok that farm is very dangerous. Of course, you're trading it for Bleak, who's already got power treads. We'll have to see how it goes. Viper can definitely kite a lot of these melee heroes in the mid game if he gets a good start.
Yeah, it sucks to just keep on harping on the fact that, Korok carry, and not, mention anybody else on their team, but it really goes to show the fact that they didn't try and put Crystal Maiden and Tiny top and maybe even have the Enchantress in an offensive jungle. They just sacrificed Solera completely to top lane, which he is just going to get messed with. He's actually going to go down here. There goes Bleak's going to throw his ultimate out. And actually, here comes a teleport. They might be able to pop. Oh, no, that's just way too much damage. He is so squishy. Viper doing way too much damage with that Nether Toxin and couldn't even get the teleport off. It's just interesting that they're going to completely sacrifice Solera just like that. Actually, middle. We're going to see Painted Gold potentially go down here. Another stun is not going to be up, but they're going to finish off anyway. Musica is going to get the last hit, so nice job once again. AL getting a nice little gank on middle, this time with the help of Shaitan. Anyway, to finish my thought, Korok completely protected, Solera completely out there.
Yeah, it's definitely true, and a Leshrac without farm is not the best hero to have. If you want to get a pure support, yeah, Leshrac's great with farm. We've seen how powerful he is at pushing towers, but this Leshrac is really not being utilized. He's not able to push because he can't even lane against the Viper. Looks like they want to make a go on this bottom tower. It's been taking a bunch of damage. It's getting quite low, but Ale isn't getting in position to defend it. However, Sandcane is not level 6, and crucially, I think they're going to let it go as a result. They need that epicenter to try and take a big fight. So the first tower goes the way of Quantic, and while Ale is having a comfortable lead in terms of ganks, this is something they desperately need, is those towers down early, especially against the Dire. You don't want to let them get too much map control, or they will go for Roshan.
Oh, man. The first 9 time did pop, and Slayer went for a gank in middle. Unfortunately, Painted Gold was not in range in order to get a nice little silence. They're hoping to just combo. Meanwhile, bottom, Snoopy is going to go down. They finish him off right in front of the tower, and they're going to start pressuring this tier 2 as well. Absolute Legends kind of losing control right now because top, Bleak is just safely farming, yes, but towers are going down left and right. We're going to see this tier 2 probably go down here unless they start trading in and sending Bleak bottom and try and get some sort of gank here.
Yeah, I really love the decision by Solera to abandon that top lane. He couldn't do anything there anyway. The lane is being held back, as you mentioned, that static farming. One thing that Ale has done a good job of is slowing down Painted Gold. You mentioned that failed gank mid. And hey, he hasn't had any opportunities. Musica might give him one, though. The silence plus the split earth. Just not in a burst right now, actually, because that Leshrac is so underleveled. Musica going on the offensive. Actually, the Scream Pain is going to hit. The ult is going to miss, though. Solera is going to live for now. In comes Korok looking for Godot. He has mana in 2 seconds. He gets the right click. He's still got mana. Everyone from Quantic joins the party, while that Viper just sitting top farming. He's got a point booster. Looks like it will be an Aghanims rush, and a quick Aghanims with Viper is devastating because the ult cooldown goes down so much. I think Viper should be carrying a TP and using it in these situations, as a fight that goes south for the enemy squad is one that Viper will just clean everything up because that slow is so devastating. So hard to run away from a Viper, especially if you combo with any other stuns.
Yeah, absolutely. He's getting a little bit of tankiness right now. I think once he does get that basic tanking items, and he's ensured that he won't instantly die to the nukes from both Night Stalker and Tiny, I think he's just waiting for that, and then he'll come in, because once he does, he's going to be able to kite those 2 heroes around really, really well. Night Stalker, not as much, especially in the second nighttime, where he's going to have Unturn the Night maxed out. But Tiny especially, until he gets that Blink Dagger, he's going to be able to just kite Korok around. And then even after he does, the way he's doing it right now is just farming up. Even once Korok does get that Blink Dagger, he's not going to be able to pop the Viper right away, especially with the armor that he has on top of the items that he's grabbing. So,
top lane.
Uh-oh. Solera once again might go down, but Bleak is going to trade himself for in trying to get that kill before he goes down, but a nice little gank by Quantic, and Solera is just going to try and keep away from Bleak. Painted Gold actually just needs one more nuke. There it is. It's finally going to come eventually once Bleak just tries to keep juking into the jungle, but he finally does pick up that kill. So nice little gank. Meanwhile, Musica is going to try and force something in middle. This is a nice time. They know there's 2 top. They can try and force this in the tower, but Korok is coming back in with his full combo once again. Nice little blink from Musica, trying to get out as much as possible. Stun, going to be able to go off maybe. Korok is not going to keep chasing this, and they're going to back off. So nice job getting that pick at top and not trading anything in middle as well. Very nicely done.
Yeah, they desperately needed that kill on Bleak. He's sitting at 63 CS, almost doubling everyone in the game. I mentioned Korok was getting free farm, but you can't farm when you're ganking, and he's been mid with a bunch of his teammates for a while. Quantic seems hell-bent on getting this tower mid, and I wonder if they're overcommitting just a touch, as Korok desperately wants to get that Blink Dagger up. Initiation onto Snoopy. Will he be in anymore? He looks like he will be able to get out, and the TP comes in from Musica. This is going to go the other way. It looks like Korok is going to go down. Immediate TP out. I don't think it will be enough. Indeed, he does go down. A kill going the way of Bleak, so Bleak having a bit of a better time, getting something in return. Solara is taking this opportunity to get whatever farm he can. He's got phase boots up on that Leshrac. Still, he needs a lot more items to be effective, and equally importantly, he needs those levels as AL groups up mid, looking to push down this tier 1 tower. It looks like they're going to get it, too. I'm not sure that Quantic can defend this. Night Stalker is a very strong ganker, but he's not too great at running into the entire enemy squad at this stage of the game. No BKB on him. He can be nuked down quite hard, but he's going to go in anyway, just doing some kiting. He eats the ult from Viper. Bleak really wants this kill, but he's not going to get it. In fact, Bleak is the one in trouble. No, he'll be okay. As Solara rotates mid, Tiny does respawn, Korok heads back, and that should be the end of this push. I doubt AL will stay once they see Korok there.
Yeah, once they lose Korok, they really have absolutely nothing, because as you said, if they're grouped up, Night Stalker is not really going to be able to just jump in, and because he's just going to get bursted down. Even if he is rather tanky, his main attribute is just being able to chase down heroes, a single hero over and over and over again, and just keep going. But when it comes to team fights, he kind of isn't really the strongest right now. So once they lose Korok, it's really nothing, because as you see, Leshrac only has phase boots. That's all he has right now, as to be expected from a suicide lane Leshrac versus a Viper. I mean, you can't really ask him to be able to get more than that. So I think they're just probably going to farm up and probably wait for the second nighttime to really try and come in. I think a Blink Dagger is going to be really important. Korok, once again, is going to try and go in. He's trying to finish off Musica, but AL, they knew everything that was going on there. They were ready for that gank. Oh, 5 heroes middle. Absolute Legends didn't even need the 5 there, but now that they're all here, they might as well start pushing. They do have some Chen creeps as well, and so they're just going to burst down this wave and try and take middle tower, which I think they will be able to. Like I said, with Korok down, they just can't really do anything.
That entire gank attempt by Korok was spotted by this ward you see up on the Dire Hill. He rotated around to the right, came up the ramp. They saw him the entire time. You saw the paint come out from the Queen of Pain right before Korok went in, and immediately AL baited that, got the kill. This is not the kind of start Korok is accustomed to, and Tiny, even more so than Morphling, or to some degree Storm, he has to have a good start, because if you can't combo heroes down instantly, you're not going to be nearly as effective. We keep on harping on that. So far, Korok just not getting it done. 2-2 at the moment. I'm taking a look at the gold graph. It is dipping pretty heavily in favor of the Dire, even though they only have the one tower. The one tower does not account for everything. So if you're... It's a tower for a tower, actually, so they're completely even in that regard. So if you really look at the gold graph, AL is definitely having the better time of it, and the farm is there. Musica with 53, Bleak with 69, 36 even on Godot, and the 2 supports up to 18. Compare that to Quantic, the support's very underfarmed, especially Mikey, only sealed 9. Musica in a little bit of trouble. How far will Painted Gold dive? This is the question. He's not going to dive it far enough for the kill. He's going to back off, and Quantic trying to push mid, while AL groups up towards top, maybe looking to do the same there.
Man, it just feels like that Quantic is kind of spiraling out of control here. If Absolute Legends keeps going here, we're going to see Bleak going to start going for that Aghanims, which is going to be even worse when you're talking going up against both Tiny and Night Stalker. We're going to see a pause here. Looks like, what, Musica disconnected?
Well,
we might finally see middle tower go down.
That's something. We are dealing with that Australian internet, which, if you haven't heard, is notoriously bad. So, also very far away from the servers, so can't blame them for those internet issues. Looks like we will be getting the unpause here momentarily.
As an American, I complain about my internet when I see, Euro internets, and it's just, drastically different. But then you compare it to Australian internet, it's even worse. Middle! Musica does get silenced. There goes a stun. Everything's going to follow up on him. So rather unfortunate there. I don't think him coming back into the game, he was really ready for that. They trade tier 1 in middle for the tier 1 at top, so that at least happens, even if Musica did die. And they could probably just keep going here a little bit up until Quantic starts getting set up for this tier 2, and then they are going to go for it. With 3 Chen creeps, they can definitely do at least a little bit of chip damage. Also, Bleak is rather tanky now, 1,250 health right now. Especially, he can even turn the treads into strength as well, so he is definitely all tanked up and ready to go. I think he would prefer to have Aghanims before they get really aggressive, but still, at the same time, Painted Gold, Solara are heading bottom. I'm not sure if they're going to be able to pick off Snoopy. They're going to have to burst him down before the silence goes off, and they're not even going to try. Snoopy does back off a little bit too much.
Yeah, unfortunately, Daystalker not a very effective ganker there, so I'm not sure what... Frankly, I'm not sure what the goal was. Painted Gold should be farming up during this time. He really needs some more tank, whether it's a BKB, power tread, something like that. Also, we've been talking about Viper saying he's getting it Aghanims. I wonder now if maybe he's getting the point booster just for the initial HP and the mana pool. As Viper's Orb is actually pretty expensive when you spam it, especially when you couple with the Viper Strike, and then follow that point booster up with a BKB.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you look at Quantic's lineup, where will the damage come from when you're in BKB form? Night Stalker can't nuke you. His auto attacks are decent, but you can kite him pretty well. Tiny very reliant on his nuke damage at this stage of the game. Leshrac and Crystal Maiden completely reliant on Impetus will not go through BKB, so there's pretty much no way to kill that Viper with a BKB. Courier doing some very dangerous drops almost behind enemy lines, delivering that bottle back to Korok, who has been ferrying it a decent amount this game. But yeah, I mean, I think a BKB here might be the better choice. Still, Bleak is farming quite well, and he can pretty much go for whatever he wants.
Yeah, I agree. I think a BKB is going to be a first choice, and then he can get the Aghanims later when he wants to. So I really agree with that. We're probably going to see that the hammer picked up very shortly. But I don't know. Maybe he thinks he has enough control of the game, especially with the Chen and the mech and the heals coming out from him. Maybe he'll take a chance here and won't go for that, especially since Night Stalker hasn't really had the best start off. Korok neither. I mean, Korok is nowhere near a Blink Dagger. He actually only has a Staff of the Wizardry, so we're probably not going to see that initiation from him. Blink coming in from Snoopy. They're going to try and jump on Korok. Unfortunately, no slow from Godot, but he's going to teleport away. Oh, no, he tried to get the teleport with a stun, but it's not going to be long enough. Shaitan does have a very nice swap. So very well done by Absolute Legends getting that pick off, and we're probably just going to see straight Aghanims on Tiny. It feels like he's not going to try and go for that initiation whatsoever, and they're just going to try and do a little turtling now that they sort of lost this early to mid-game transition.
I actually expect that to be either a Force Staff or a Yule Scepter, something that gives them just a little bit more control in a team fight. Throwing the Viper up in the air is pretty huge. Also, if they go on you, you can throw yourself up in the air. Whatever he goes for, though, I just don't think it's going to be fast enough. That was a big kill for Ale. Not so much for the kill itself, but more importantly, to slow down Korok's farm. This is time that he's not farming. Did he actually buy back? Or no, I guess he just respawned. Mikey is going to go down. Initiation onto Last Hit Magic. Nice two-hit. Two-hero Burrow Strike. The ult completely missing from Musica. Doesn't really matter is the question. Last Hit Magic will live. No, he won't. We to pay one more Blink. Chen so strong in these engagements. Is able to heal everyone up. Another Burrow Strike coming through. Korok goes down with 4 heroes dead. The tier 2 tower is sure to fall. Where was Painted Gold in that fight is my question. No TP on him. Maybe the TP was on cooldown. They desperately need a Night Stalker there. It could have at least saved 1 or 2 heroes. Maybe gotten a kill or 2 in return, especially with that DD rune up. Unfortunately, without Painted Gold, it's just not the same team, and down they go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Big fight for AL. Goldgraph definitely reflecting it. A very steep descent into the 5,000 plus gold differential region.
Yeah, and that's just going to probably be another tower. Maybe they're going to try and go for this tier 2 here. But Quantic is trying to set up, and maybe they can finally turn a team fight their way. Painted Gold does still have his ultimate, so they can try and force this fight with a nighttime. But they are going to back up. Absolute Legends is going to go right back to farming. And Viper going straight Aghanims. He is going to try for that. He turns his strength to treads to strength and has 1,400 health. Interesting. I mean, you brought up BKB, and I was like, you know what? I think that's probably a better choice. But I think this is pretty risky by Bleak, but it might just be enough. They might have enough of a lead for it to pay off. Right now, Tiny can't really burst him. Even if they do follow up with Night Stalker, trying to hit nukes as well, it's not really going to be enough. Even Leshrac as well. You were talking about Chen heals. None of it's really going to be enough to pop Viper. And as long as he's able to get out of those disables, he's just going to start kiting heroes left and right and outputting a lot of damage. So interesting that he's going to be going that. Also, you mentioned the movement from Tiny, either the push stick and Yules. And I'm going to have to agree with you there as well. I think right now Aghanims is going to take watch. He's going to go Aghanims as well. And you know, put my foot right back into my mouth.
Both look silly, but yeah, the other thing is Aghanims is pretty expensive, right? So he's not going to be farming that anytime soon. Even if he gets Aghanims, so what, right? Because Viper will just ult you, and you're not going to do anything. They have plenty of stuns to deal with him. Normally, when you see a Tiny go for Aghanims, it's with a big lead. It's also normally coupled with a BKB or some sort of mobility item at the very least, so you can get in range, like a Blink Dagger or a Force Staff. It's a tough place to be right now, and I did mention the BKB on Viper, but when you're this far ahead, you can be aggressive with your item selections, and sometimes that is the better choice. And an Aghanims at this stage of the game on Viper, it still gives him a lot of tank. You also have to remember that Viper has corrosive skin, which makes him very resistant to the Radiant's primary form of damage, which is magical damage. after the Aghanims, I would love to see a BKB. I think he'll be immortal if he goes for it. But Bleak could probably go for a Mad Style or just some straight damage and be fine. He is far ahead, and he can afford to take risks like this. That being said, if it backfires, he may wish he had that magic immunity, but for now, Bleak looking very strong. And this is the kind of situation where Viper can carry. He's not up against any sort of true hard carry. He's up against two melee heroes who can be kited, who aren't farming well, who've died a bunch. If you just look at the farm right now, Bleak up to 113 creeps. Compare that to Quantic, nobody exceeding 70. That is a massive difference to have at this stage of the game.
Yeah, and seriously, we're going to see, they're going to jump on Solera, and he's absolutely done for. The ultimate from Viper, as well as a nice little blink in from Snoopy hitting that stun. And they're just going to force this tier 1 tower at bottom, and right now it's just going to be Korok and Painted Gold farming the lanes. I think they just really need to burst any of these down and try and get as much farm as humanly possible. Otherwise, they just have to sacrifice these towers in order to pick up some farm. Otherwise, it's just going to be Viper just absolutely crushing them in every single team fight.
They just can't get anything going right now. Quantic is trying to farm. Every time they try and pick a fight or defend a tower, someone dies. They're getting picked off left and right. AL has great ward coverage now after taking down all three of the outer towers, as well as the tier 2 top. They're pressuring the bottom tier 2 with this tower down, assuming it goes down. That gives them even more map control, even more ability to take a Roshan without Quantic having any chance of defending it. Quantic, their lineup would be great for stopping a Roshan with some items, with some farm. Because normally Nightstalker and Tiny can just jump in and drive everyone back, but in this case, it's really the Viper and the Sand King that are going to be driving heroes back. And Quantic really you can tell they know how far behind they are. Normally you would not see a team give up a full HP tier 2 with 5 heroes alive like this. Bleak actually just going to work down this Enchantress creep. Yeah, I mean, it's a tough place to be for AL. Immediately the tier 2 bot dies, and they transition right into the Roshan pit. Nice knowledge by them, nice decision by them. With the Vengeful Spirit, with the Aura, as well as the minus armor, they should be able to take this down very quickly. And the Viper with 2 lives. Oh boy. Good luck killing him twice.
Yeah, seriously. I mean, they're just going to have to kill everyone else and then somehow be able to crowd control that Viper away. They take a tower at top, so that is at least a little bit of booster gold there. But still, I mean, they just gave up so much for so little farm right now. Almost 7,500 gold lead for the Dire right now. 4-12, 21 minutes in, and now a Roshan Aegis pickup on that Viper. And it's only going to get worse because then on top of that, they're pretty much, unless they really throw something here, they're probably going to be guaranteed the next Roshan as well. And then the Rosh after that's going to include Cheese. They're just going to keep control of the map and keep grabbing these. And eventually they're going to be able to pop the racks. Meanwhile, Quantic is going to try and pick up Shaitan here. They're going to see Musica with the double damage though. Snoopy going to come in with a nice little stun. Panty Gold is now in some serious trouble. He's trying to get out. Musica does still have an ultimate, but he's not going to pop it quite yet. There goes the teleport, but there goes the ultimate as well to stop him. Instantly taking out that Night Stalker. BKB is popped on Musica, trying to dodge. Nice job. Solera does hit a stun, but it doesn't hit Musica because of that BKB, and now Solera is in trouble. But Musica probably not going to be diving quite yet. Snoopy thinking about it with that Blink Dagger, but they're just going to back up and take that tier 2 after getting 2 nice little picks.
Frankly, I think Quantic is desperate at this point. That was a very ill-advised gank by Painted Gold. You can't blame him because he's got to get something going. I mean, this is not how you play Night Stalker. You don't sit around and farm all game. You kill shit. But unfortunately, they just can't kill anything right now. And attempting to get that gank ended up costing them not just the Night Stalker, but some other heroes as well. A big loss. I was not criticizing Quantic at all, by the way, when by saying that it's unusual to see a team not defending that tier 2. They just can't defend it. I mean, that's flat out the case, and they were making the right choice, getting a trade, pushing top, getting some farm up on Painted Gold and Korok. I'm a little surprised that they decided to go in the other direction and go back to trying to fight. There is a ray of hope, though, which is that Korok has some items going his way. He has that Force Staff, he has a point booster, so he's a little bit tanky, has some form of initiation. But the real problem for Quantic right now is everyone just seems so squishy. Enchantress 980 HP, Crystal Maiden 700 HP. The Leshrac is decently farmed, but still against a Viper and a Queen of Pain, a Sankey with a Blink Dagger, the swap from Benj, it doesn't matter if you have a little bit extra health. You need a BKB because otherwise they will just kite you down, chase you down, burst you down, and there's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah, at the very least, Solera is actually getting a little bit of farm. He does have Phase Boots as well as Drums and now an Ogre Club, I believe. And he is now at least getting a little bit of tankiness so he can actually come into these team fights. But feels like Quantic is just so far behind, 12,000 deficit right now. and they're just going to have to try and pick up whatever farm, even doing the Ancients right now with 2 heroes. I like that. They're just trying to pick up whatever farm they can, and it's going to be a while until they're going to be able to win a team fight. I think AL is really going to have to make a big stumble when they try and push. Either that or delay too long and just give Quantic way too much farm. And eventually Quantic will be able to come back and force some decent team fights. But as it stands right now, Absolute Legends does have a serious lead. We're even going to see Aghanims on the Sand King. Followed up probably by a Veil, which is only going to get worse.
And if you look at Quantic right now, there's no mech, there's no pipe. The heroes, some of the heroes have decent HP pools. That does not matter. You straight up need either magic immunity or those heals to have any chance. Enchantress Crystal Maiden will just melt. Leshrac will melt. Heck, even the Night Stalker is not tanky enough. 1700 health. It's a lot of HP, but again, no BKB on him. And Korok 1600. Night Stalker about to get caught out here. Shaitan with the magic missile to start. Swap is available if they need it, and I'm guessing we're going to see it used here. Indeed, we are. Immediate TP out from Pay to Cold. Will he get out? Not in time. Oh man, that Viper hits hard. Down he goes, and Quantic is most likely going to push top, try and get some sort of trade going. I don't think this is going to be. They're not going to have enough time to push into the racks before that Night Stalker respawns, because Quantic has done a good job pushing out the lanes, but still, another kill on one of the 2 heroes that really needs to get some farm going. Night Stalker just running away. I mean, this is not normally how you see the hero played, nor how you want him to be played if he's on your side.
Yeah, we see Aghanims all over the place. Chen is going to grab his own as well. Looks like Queen of Pain's probably going to go for that Bloodstone. Meanwhile, Quantic is just trying to pick up some sort of gold in the form of top right now. They're pushing that lane in. Tier 3 is going to start getting threatened at bottom, but at the very least, they want at least a little bit of gold from the top tower, and they are going to get it. So they pick up that, and they're going to try and teleport back, heal up a little bit, and try and force this fight. Meanwhile, Snoopy does blink in, get a nice little sleep. Musica trying to finish off. Last hit magic, very, very low. Bleak, oh, he's actually getting kind of low, but Manta popped, and now he's going to start turning on the damage now. We're just waiting on Korok. He might be able to come in. They could even pop Bleak here. It's going to be really tough, though. The Urn is healing him up. Going to go in and toss. Just trying to throw them back with the...
Oh, you just disconnected from the game. Chen ult is popped. Everyone in a lot of trouble here. Ale almost diving the fountain at the moment, and Korok is in a bit of trouble. He's going to go down. Bleak with that Aghanims constantly ulting everyone. The tower is still alive, so that's something for Quantic. Frankly, Ale should have been going for the racks. Overextension, to say the least. Snoopy gets sent back. Will he get out is the question. No, Snoopy dies. This might be the turnaround that Quantic was looking for. Bleak still has Aegis, as well as Manta Style. Manta Style is up. Queen of Pain ult comes out. Korok is on the retreat. Now Bleak is going toe-to-toe with Last Hit Magic. Down goes Last Hit Magic. The Manta is now popped. Painted Gold might die. Bleak has 6 HP, and he's going in. He does still have the Aegis, and now he backs off. So after it's all said and done, no racks for claim. The tier 3 is down, though, and most importantly, that Aegis is still up. Korok looking for another kill, but they're not going to get it. If Ale had just gone for the racks, they could have easily gotten them. Instead, they dove the fountain, dove a little bit too far. It was definitely over-aggressive, but they didn't sustain any huge losses. The Aegis is up. The Viper survived. I think the Queen of Pain lived. At the very least, she's got a Lincoln's now. Lincoln's and BKB. This Queen of Pain is not dying anytime soon.
Oh, that was really unfortunate. It wasn't the internet at all. It was just everything else was going, and just the Dota servers. I got kicked out of that. That's all it was. It was rather unfortunate. I was able to get it was like a 5-10 second. That was 10 seconds of that fight that I missed, which is rather unfortunate, but I was able to catch about the last half of that fight, and it is rather surprising. AL did not just go for the racks. I think they gave up a little bit gold to Quantic, and that's just really not what you want to do. Tiny does have that Aghanims, finally, so he was able to do some damage there. So it was a nice job pushing in that top tier 2 tower, which got him that Aghanims, I believe, that extra bit of gold. So that definitely helped out in that team fight. The question is it going to be enough for them to come back now, trying to defend this racks at bottom? All that's left.
Don't underestimate Korok. With an Aghanims, Tiny hits really hard. I don't think he's level 16 yet. Indeed, he's not. Once he hits level 16, he will hit exponentially harder. Still, if the fight starts going the wrong way, Quantic is not a lineup you can easily run away from. I've been talking all game about how good Viper and Queen of Pain and really everyone on the Dire lineup are chasing, especially with the blink on the Sand King. Quantic has the same potential to chase heroes down between Night Stalker, Tiny with a Force Staff, and just all the disables they have to work with, all the slows they have to work with. Ale still, after that big fight, they're saying, okay, we're going to take this game anyway. We're going to do it properly this time. The glyph, I believe, it's down for the Radiant. Indeed, it is. So they won't have that to work with. The Age is still up on the Viper. A nice little Alpha Wolf here, going to be giving Bleak even a bit of extra damage. Painted Gold goes on Bleak. He can Manta out of that silence. He does. Down goes Last Hit Magic immediately. Stun on Korok used very defensively. Look at the range on Viper. Oh man, he is like a siege cannon right now. Swap in on Solara. 2 or 3 auto attacks, and that's all she wrote for him. Korok comes in looking for an opening. Big epicenter by Musica, or excuse me, by Snoopy doing a lot of damage. Musica pops the BKB. This time I expect to see the racks being focused, and indeed they're not going to go for the fountain dives here. A smart choice and a respectful choice. They have the creep wave pushing on top. They can immediately go for double racks.
Yeah, it just feels like there's just way too much of an advantage for AL. I mean, once the Viper picked up Aghanims, he was so tanky. I mean, just the hero itself is a great counter to what Quantic had right off the bat. Because once he gets a little bit of tankiness, he just survives through all that. And then once he picks up Aghanims, just spamming that ultimate over and over. So you either have to choose to try and target him, and it's going to be hard enough throwing all those spells around on top of Chen heals and the mech and everything that goes down. You have to choose to either target one hero and spend so much on him, either that or ignore him and see that ultimate just fly all over the place. Bleak is actually getting a little low, but Painted Gold is having to back off. The Aegis still has not been popped, and look how slow Painted Gold is. During the daytime, there's just nothing he can do. Solara goes down as well, followed up by Last Hit Magic once again, and Korok, the only person left alive. He doesn't even pop the Aegis on Bleak. Korok just gonna heal up, and that is gonna be game. The third and final Rax is going to go down at top, and Absolute Legends is going to be able to take the AL Invitational Finals, going into taking the final and 5th game. Very well done.
What a series it was. A couple of the games were short-lived, but still, I love the way both teams showed a lot of poise and gumption. You know, coming back from the deficit, Quantic made a series out of it. It was a valiant effort. It wasn't quite enough. In the end, Absolute Legends wins their own tournament, so hey, they're defending their home turf. This is our house, and get out of it, they say to Quantic. Still, a few things I want to question and sort of, well, not question, but a few points I want to make about this game. Putting Leshrac in the suicide lane, very questionable decision. I think it was just forced by their hero selection. Picking 2 melee heroes like Nightstalker and Tiny, only one of them can go mid, and neither of them is really strong in a 1v1 situation against Viper, against Queen of Pain. So because of that Leshrac going top, he had no farm, he fed a kill to the Viper, he also didn't slow down the Viper, as we see a few more kills coming out and the throne dying. But yeah, in retrospect, maybe the Tiny pick wasn't the right pick, and you know, I mentioned this in the previous, in one of the previous games. Korok said until teams stop what we like to do, and as long as we keep on winning, we're going to keep on doing it. Well, they got stopped today, so maybe they'll have to go back to the drawing board comp with new strats, but that is going to do it. AL takes the series 3-2.